Welcome back to Generative AI 101, where we turn the confusing jargon of AI and generative AI into tales you'd share over a good cup of coffee. I hope it's strong. I'm Emily Laird, your guide through this tech labyrinth. Today, we're going to dissect the anatomy of a prompt, breaking it down piece by piece so you can master the art of talking to machines. Grab your magnifying glass and a sense of curiosity. Welcome to Generative AI 101. All right, let's dig in. You've probably heard the saying, the devil is in the details, and ooh, baby, it is. When it comes to prompt engineering, the details are everything. A well-crafted prompt can transform an AI's response from a bland, canned answer to a thoughtful, content-rich reply. Today, we'll break down the components of a prompt, compare effective and ineffective examples, and give you the tools to create prompts that sing. First, let's walk through the structure of a prompt. Think of it like building a house. You need a solid foundation, sturdy walls, and a roof that won't leak. The three main components of a prompt are instructions, context, and constraints. So let's start with instructions. This is the core of your prompt. What exactly do you want the AI to do? Be clear and specific. For example, write a poem about autumn. Gives a clear directive. And we love poems on this podcast. We love them. We don't. We just always talk about poems as an example. So then we have instructions. Next, we have context. So this is the background information the AI needs to provide a relevant response. So for instance, adding set in a bustling city park behind write a poem about autumn. Then we add set in a bustling city park gives the AI more to work with, making the output richer. Lastly, we have constraints. These are the boundaries within which the AI should operate, right? You have boundaries when you're writing these prompts. Constraints can be stylistic, length-related, or any specific requirement. For example, in the style of a haiku adds a stylistic constraint that shapes the final product. So let's go back. We've now written the prompt, write a poem about autumn, instruction, set in a bustling city park, context, in the style of a haiku, constraints. So let's compare some prompts to see this in action. Consider these two examples. An ineffective prompt might read, tell me something interesting. Okay, it's really broad, not effective. A more effective prompt would be, tell me an interesting fact about the history of Paris. And if you just listened to our Mistral AI episode, you know we're all about Paris. Just kidding. We're all about I can't pronounce French words. So now the first prompt we looked at, tell me something interesting, is just far too vague, leading to a broad and potentially irrelevant response. The second prompt provides clear instruction, context, and an implicit constraint, resulting in a much more focused and useful output. And again, that effective prompt was tell me an interesting fact about the history of Paris. All right, now it's your turn. You know that at the core, I'm a college level lecturer, right? I teach generative AI amongst other things. So now it's your turn. Imagine you're in my class. Take a seat. Class is in session. Here's a prompt. Describe a scene at the beach. Think about how you would improve it by adding context and constraints. Maybe something like describe a serene sunset at a quiet beach in Hawaii, focusing on the colors in the sky and the sounds of the waves. So as we start to think about prompts, you want to think about your writing structure. You want to think about being descriptive. I've used the example before. Imagine you saw a crime happen. You are the witness and you must describe what has happened. That's like writing a prompt. It has to be rich, detailed. It has to help people solve a mystery, right? You're helping the police solve the case. You have to think about it and give that rich detail, set the scene, tell them what happened, and then what you need. So let's dive into some real world scenarios as we always do, where prompt structure made a significant difference. Now imagine a customer support chatbot. They're everywhere. Everyone's getting one. I am constantly asked about customer support chatbots, so let's use that as an example. Now, a poorly crafted prompt like help the customer is too vague. Imagine you're setting up and training a chatbot and you give it the parameter, help the customer. Great. But a well-structured prompt, like assist the customer with their billing issues by explaining the latest invoice details and providing options for payment, gives the AI clear guidance, leading to more satisfactory interaction, which is what you want. Or consider, for instance, data analysis. A generic prompt like analyze this data isn't helpful. Instead, we might say analyze the sales data from Q1 2023 to identify the top 3 products by revenue. This provides specific instructions, context, and constraints, resulting in a more actionable report. So before we wrap up, let's just do a quick review. Understanding the essential components of a well-crafted prompt, including instructions, context, and constraints. And in the future weeks, we'll go way more in-depth with how you can build these out to craft and write the most effective prompts. You need to start to harness the ability to identify the strengths and weaknesses of different prompts. This is going to flex that assessment and critical thinking muscle that you have in your brain. Critical thinking is going to be your most impactful skill right now as a human engaging with these AI models. We also looked at some practical understanding through examples and exercises. So think back about those prompts that we crafted when you were in class earlier, and we talked about that vague sunset prompt, and then we wrote the really rich, in-depth prompt. Think about training a chatbot. Help the customer. No, too vague. Detail for the chatbot how they're going to help the customer. So that's all for today's exploration into the anatomy of a prompt. If you've got questions, thoughts, or just want to connect, you can find me on LinkedIn. Just look up Emily Laird and let's keep the conversation going. And if you're interested in having me speak on prompt engineering at your organization, business, or what have you, please reach out to me on LinkedIn. Until next time, stay curious, stay adventurous, and remember, you know more about crafting effective prompts now than you did when you arrived.